What's up, everybody? It's Jared with Capture the Magic, and in today's video, we're going to talk about Bluey and why we haven't heard anything about it coming to the Disney parks. As Scott Gustin here talks about, he did an updated post here on May 25th and said, in December, Disney announced Bluey and her family would be coming to Walt Disney World and Disneyland Resort, and more details would be shared in the months ahead, and it's been 5 months. Bluey and Bingo will appear on Disney Cruise Line sailings from Australia and New Zealand through 2026. I do find it interesting because you know that Disney wants to put, obviously, Bluey in the theme parks because I think that would be a huge draw. And given that this summer they're doing lots of meet and greets and the cool kids summer stuff, it would fit perfectly in with that. I do think it would be a legitimate draw for families in the theme parks. But given we haven't heard a peep about this, and this was originally said again in December, and even the Hollywood Reporter had a write-up about this, at Disney to bring Bluey to theme parks and expansion of a family franchise. It said characters from the hit show will also join Disney Cruise Line voyages beginning next month in Australia and New Zealand. This was in December of last year. It says one of the most popular animated characters in the world is set to make her debut at Walt Disney World and Disneyland next year. Bluey the Healer Dog and star of the hit Disney Plus series Bluey. The addition of Bluey to the Disney theme parks and Disney Cruise Lines come amid an expanded partnership between Disney and BBC Studios, the commercial arm of the BBC that distributes the popular Australian animated series, and Ludo Studio, which produced the program. Earlier this week, the companies announced that a Bluey movie would arrive on big screens in 2027 with Disney leading distribution. Bluey creator Joe Brum is writing and directing the film. The deal is notable because Disney uses its theme parks and cruise ships to highlight its own intellectual property, so featuring a third-party character, albeit one from a Disney platform like Disney Plus, is unusual to say the least. And even Josh D'Amaro spoke on this. He said, Bluey has become a household name for families around the world, and we are thrilled to bring her story to life in new ways, said Josh D'Amaro. We can't wait to watch our youngest guests and their families make memories with Bluey in our parks and on our cruises. The Healer family's debut at Disney theme parks and cruises really is the icing on the cake for what has been an exceptional year for Bluey, added Nikki Shared, CEO of BBC Studios Brands and Licensing. We are committed to creating the very best in-class experiences for our fans and can't wait to open the doors to families next year. The Bluey topic is an interesting one because you look at the streaming charts, it is, at least in 2024, it was the most streamed show in terms of numbers on streaming. It was number one. It's the biggest show on Disney Plus, and Disney doesn't own it. They have the distribution rights. They have the streaming rights for it in the U.S., but it is the number one thing that kids and toddlers watch on Disney Plus is Bluey. So obviously they want to put it into the theme parks, but obviously something is up with it because, again, we can also look here. I found a little bit of information on this from BGT Safari. It's a Busch Gardens Tampa blog. It's really the only thing I could find that was an article about like where the theme park rights kind of are here. So this was written last year, and it says here, this was last summer. This summer, it was shocking to see Bluey end up in several theme park-related places with Disney competitors. Bluey characters had meet and greets at Sesame Place, which is owned by United Parks, formerly known as SeaWorld and owners of Busch Gardens, as well as Alton Towers in the UK, owned by Merlin Entertainment, who also owns Legoland. The Sesame Place meet and greet was only a couple of days with Bluey as a special guest, but the Alton Towers promotion is ongoing, and they even had Bluey-themed hotel rooms. Bluey and Bingo did show up as part of the D23 event that was for Disney Plus out there, D23 last year. And also last year, I do remember this, there was a Bluey scavenger hunt that was scheduled at Disney World's Fort Wilderness Resort that was abruptly canceled after 3 days. It says, appears someone at Disney didn't get the "we don't have a Bluey license" message. And I remember that because everyone, when they announced that, everyone was just like, oh, okay, Bluey's come to the parks, and then it just sort of went away. And this has happened before. I mean, Disney has had, they try to find little areas where they can do like a Doctor Strange meet and greet. That popped up years ago, which was abruptly taken down a couple of days later, assuming that the Universal lawyers called them and said, hey, you can't do this. And then we have seen, though, Doctor Strange pop up as not really a meet and greet, but a roaming character, but he's not called Doctor Strange. He's called like Sorcerer Supreme, but he just roams around. Last time I saw him was at Jollywood Nights last year, but we haven't seen him in the park since then. So Disney made a pretty, big announcement about this, and we have yet to see anything announced or show up in the parks regarding Bluey. which is very interesting given what Disney is doing this summer with the Cool Kids Summer and all these meet and greets they're doing. A lot of the things they're doing are very much aimed at younger kids, younger families, for extra activities for them to do in the parks. And you got from, the goofy takeover stuff, kind of games they're playing, lots and lots of character meet and greets. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to put two and two together that they would have had Bluey being the headlining thing about this, as you can meet Bluey as part of this, promoted everywhere. And given the fact, too, that it wouldn't take a lot to put a Bluey meet and greet in the parks. I mean, it's just the costume. You don't have to construct a ride. There's no queues. There's nothing that would require a lot of construction time to do this. Some people had talked about maybe they were going to use Bluey and Bingo as part of the nighttime parade, but we have the details about that, and they are not part of that parade either. It just leads me to think there is something going on with the theme park rights, because again, the Disney had announced this. They haven't said a peep about this since then, but they had said at the time it would be months following you would come to Disneyland and Disney World. The only thing I can think of is that there is some sort of theme park rights issue, and either Disney thought they had the rights to it and they ended up not having the full rights to it, or somebody has those rights. Maybe Disney thought that they could buy those rights and just go ahead and announce this. It wouldn't be the first time a major corporation has sort of done this, assuming they could, obtain some little right here that they needed to get and they couldn't do it. But my assumption would be if it is tied up with the Sesame Place thing, because again, that was a strange one. It was like it was in a parade, and then she was part of a meet and greet, but they only ran it for a couple of days, and they haven't done much since then with it, if anything, that I can find. Now, why we haven't seen Bluey show up, whoever has those rights, you would assume they would use them because, Bluey's a hugely popular show, and any theme park would want to use them in their park, you would assume. But I do find it strange. Not that this other news that just came out has necessarily anything to do with Bluey, but it could have something to do with more character meet and greets in the parks. And it's also kind of interesting how this is tied together. So CoComelon animated series is moving from Netflix to Disney Plus. And it says preschool powerhouse CoComelon will now be a streaming home on Disney Plus, which has picked up the animated series, which has been a Netflix mainstay since 2020. CoComelon from Candle Media. And if you guys don't know this, Candle Media is owned by Kevin Mayer and Tom Staggs, who were in the running to become the next CEO before they named Bob Chapek. And since then, they went on to form Candle Media, which did acquire the rights of CoComelon and some other ones. And also, it has been reported Bob Iger has been consulting with Kevin Mayer and Tom Staggs about the next CEO choice. So this is all kind of intertwined here, which is kind of interesting with this. This originated from YouTube, where it continues to be amongst the most popular channels. It has also been the top preschool title on Netflix, fueling the global streamer's growth in kids and family programming. Meanwhile, Disney has been the preeminent brand for kids programming, and CoComelon currently the number 6 streaming show for preschool kids ages 2 to 5, according to Nielsen. This will join the top 3 titles in the demo on Disney Plus, which you have Bluey, Spidey and His Amazing Friends at number 2, and Mickey Mouse Clubhouse is still number 3, even though that show has long been canceled. They're just reruns of that show. There are conflicting reports about how exactly CoComelon's move to Disney came about. Per sources close to negotiation, Netflix did make an offer to renew the show at a license fee higher than the current one, but was outbid by Disney. According to Netflix sources, the streamer opted not to renew CoComelon due to decline in viewership for the preschool phenom, which is down nearly 60% from 2023, despite 4 new seasons. CoComelon's pedigree is similar to that of Bluey, coming from an independent international animated house. The two are now set to live side by side on Disney Plus, with the streamer likely to expand the CoComelon brand the way it has been doing with the Australian import Bluey. So it's not that it's directly related to the Bluey stuff, but at the same time, I would also imagine perhaps with CoComelon, they would perhaps be able to get the theme park meet and greet rights for that potentially. And I also think that deal, even though it probably won't be reported, I'm going to assume that deal happened because of the relationship that Bob Iger has with Kevin Mayer and Tom Skaggs. That would be my guess here as to maybe how that came about. But it is interesting that they are acquiring more third-party content for that age group, because Disney themselves really isn't making much in terms of new things that are really relevant to kids of that age. Spidey and Friends is there, but even Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, that show, I'm pretty sure that show was canceled like 5 years ago, and it's still one of the top shows on there with no new episodes. I mean, I know our kids loved watching Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, and when it comes to Bluey and CoComelon, I think CoComelon is, having seen both, luckily our kids were not into CoComelon much. CoComelon is garbage. I can't even imagine watching CoComelon a lot. Now, Bluey, I actually enjoy. I like when our kids have been kind of in and out of Bluey, and I think it's a much more enjoyable show from at least from an adult standpoint of watching something that your kids want to watch. But when it comes to the theme park rights here, I'm wondering if this is involved in this, whereas Disney's plan for the next few years until they get the things done that they're building that are, you know, the rebuttal to Epic Universe in ways, that if they're just going more of these meet and greet routes, trying to do much more of the things they're doing this summer, and if they cannot get the Bluey rights, maybe they go acquire the CoComelon rights for streaming and also bring some of those characters into the parks for meet and greets. I think that's a possibility they could be doing that. Now, from everything I could find, I couldn't find anything that had anything to do with CoComelon theme park rights, and they didn't say in that article if that deal included the theme park rights. It's possible that it could have. And if that is the case, even though CoComelon is, I do believe, a diminishing brand. I mean, it doesn't have the viewership that it used to. Bluey has held on strong for many years on Disney+. They could be looking to bring the CoComelon characters in as meet and greets to throw into the mix as probably, again, they'll do this for multiple years forward of having a lot of meet and greets and really kid-centric activities in the parks while they're building the things that they're building and maybe they stop them when they're done, or maybe they continue this blueprint of doing a lot more meet and greets, which I think they should in the parks. But the whole idea that Bluey, having been announced, made a big deal about it, and we haven't heard anything about it since then, I think the only logical conclusion is there's something up with the theme park rights that Disney either thought they had or thought they could get and they didn't get, and they're just being hush on this. Now, I suppose they could figure this out. Maybe we hear something about it very soon. But given how the big announcement, like Scott Gustin said, that was back in December, and they said very shortly that there would be, they said in the months ahead, there would be an update about this, and it's already been 5 months, almost 6 months since then. I think something's up because, again, they would have included Bluey with all the stuff they're doing this summer, undoubtedly. So I think it's just very interesting when it comes to Bluey. It may not be coming to the Disney parks. It is on some select Disney Cruise Line sailings. Now, why they're not on all the Disney Cruise Line sailings is another question also. And it makes me think that maybe, you know, Bluey became such a hit, I think unexpectedly. It's very possible that Ludo and maybe even the BBC, they just, you know, when it comes to licensing deals, maybe they made some licensing deals for theme park rights that made, you know, different places got different things. They didn't really know where they were all at. Or maybe they thought they did, but yet the fine print said that, hey, you can't do this, you can't do X, Y, and Z. It's very possible with that because when it comes to, you know, licensing deals, sometimes in the fine print, there's a lot of things in there that are assumed that either are or aren't in there, and it could have been something along those lines. And just given how Bluey was just very much an organic thing that became very popular just due to its content, it wasn't touted as the next big kids programming thing. It just sort of happened. You could see those rights getting tied up somewhere else, and Disney may just, you know, they're going to distribute the movie. They're going to be involved in that front, but they may not be able to bring it to the parks. That's the only thing I can think of as to why that would be. So it's a very unique and interesting situation here. But if there's any updates on this, of course, we will talk about it on here and let you guys know about it. But for now, that's going to be it, though, for this video. If you like this video, please like it and subscribe to the channel as we do lots of coverage here of Universal Studios, Epic Universe, Disney World, and pop culture. And let us know in the comments what you think about all this. And until next time, we will see you in the parks.